You're all I've got left to count on! Charizard!
Hi, my name is Professor Silver, and in today's class, we'll be breaking down the complete history of Red's Mega Charizard X, detailing all its battles, storylines, and character development. Red and Charizard's adventures are chronicled in the miniseries Pokémon Origins. Much like Pokémon Red and Blue, the series tracked Red's progression from novice to champion. During the first episode in File 1 Red, Professor Oak gave Charizard as a Charmander to Red at the start of his Pokémon journey. As thanks for his starter, Red promised to fulfill Oak's dream of completing the Pokédex. Oak's grandson also hoped to complete the Pokédex, but he chose Squirtle as his starter to combat Charmander's fire typing. Upon leaving the lab, Charmander and Red immediately became the best of friends. They initially struggled against a Pidgey, but quickly learned the ropes of catching Pokémon. After Charmander helped Red catch a Rattata, Spearow, Caterpie, and Pidgey, the duo beat a youngster's Nidoran, traveled to the Viridian Forest, and faced off against Blue Squirtle. Squirtle withstood Growl, dodged Ember, tackled Charmander, blocked Scratch, landed another tackle, overpowered Ember, coated Charmander in Bubble, and unleashed a vicious bite, so Red gave up the battle out of fear for his companion's safety. Red performed so poorly during the battle that Blue told him to give up on training then and there. Blue's criticism and obvious superiority filled Red with doubt about his own abilities. Luckily, Brock watched the battle from afar, gave Red a rousing pep talk, and inspired him to learn the basics of battling at the region's various gyms. During the Pewter Gym battle, Charmander blasted Geodude with Ember and shot off Scratch, but took major damage from Tackle, as Red wasn't sure what move to use next. Charmander pressed forward with more useless scratches, so Brock explained that Red needed to take type advantage into consideration and suggested he use one of his other Pokémon. Nidoran took care of Geodude, but Onix avenged its fallen ally. Once Onix defeated the rest of Red's team, Charmander returned as his last hope for victory. Thanks to Metapod's speed-reducing String Shot, Charmander won out with Scratch and earned Red the Boulder Badge. Beating Brock taught Red to cherish Charmander as his partner, rather than see it as a tool. After the battle, Charmander and Red battled a plethora of opponents in File 2 Cubone, including Team Rocket, Cerulean Gym Leader Misty, and Vermilion Gym Leader Lieutenant Surge. At some point during their journey, Charmander evolved into Charmeleon. While in Lavender Town, Red used Charmeleon against Marowak's ghost, freed the Pokémon Tower from Team Rocket, and rescued the elderly Mr. Fuji. In gratitude for Red's heroism, Mr. Fuji gifted him a Pokeflute, a Keystone, and Charizard Idex. Red didn't understand what the stones were meant for, but he held on to them as Mr. Fuji promised he would one day discover their value. During File 3 Giovanni, Charmeleon earned Red the Rainbow Badge, likely battled Fuchsia Gym Leader Koga, torched a Wigglytuff, scratched a Voltorb, trounced a Seadra, evolved into Charizard, and traveled with Red to Saffron City. Once in Saffron, it enraged Red to learn Team Rocket had taken over the Sylph building and kidnapped wild Pokémon. Holding nothing back, Red laid siege to Team Rocket's forces, freed the company's captive employees, and challenged Giovanni to battle. Unfortunately, Charizard was no match for Nidoqueen's Double Kick and Surf. Even though Giovanni saw massive potential in Charizard, he thought Red's skill pathetic and believed Red's notion that Pokémon should be friends utterly foolish. Following Red's victories against Sabrina, the Black Belt, and Blaine, he challenged Giovanni to a rematch at the Viridian Gym, hoping to prove him wrong about Pokémon once and for all. Unlike Giovanni's battle with Blue, the leader only opted to use his most powerful Pokémon. Rhyhorn decimated most of Red's team until falling to Hitmonlee, but Red's performance thrilled Giovanni and reminded him of the excitement he once felt as a young trainer. With both trainers down to their last Pokémon, Red selected Charizard opposite Rhydon. Though Giovanni criticized Red's choice of Pokémon, Red couldn't imagine using any other Pokémon to prove the power of love and friendship. Seeing Red summon Charizard sparked Giovanni's memory of his past as a young trainer with a Charmander of his own, and reminded him of how he too once cherished his Pokémon's friendship. During the battle, Charizard exchanged Mega Punches with Rhydon, missed Mega Kick, took major damage from Fury Attack, sidestepped Horn Drill, and won with an earth-shattering Seismic Toss. Red initially refused to accept the Earth Badge for Charizard's victory, but relented upon learning Giovanni had seen the error of his ways and that Giovanni intended to dismantle Team Rocket. In File 4 Charizard, Red entered the Indigo League, defeated the Elite Four, and challenged League Champion Blue to battle. After a hard-fought match, Charizard and Blastoise were the last Pokémon standing. Blue expected Blastoise to take home the win just like it did as a Squirtle, but Charizard refused to let history repeat itself. Blastoise tanked Mega Punch, pummeled Charizard with Hydro Pump, and shrugged off Fire Spin, but was powerless against the exceptional might of Fire Blast. Charizard's beating of Blastoise delighted Red, precipitated Red's coronation as champion, earned Red Blue's respect, and gained Red a place in the League's Hall of Fame. Despite the massive accomplishment, becoming champion did little to temper Red's goal of completing the Pokédex. Shortly after Charizard helped Red both catch Moltres and complete complete the Pokedex, Red returned home to Pallet Town, discovered a mysterious psychic type had injured Blue, and resolved himself to make the Pokemon his 150th entry. Though the Pokemon's identity initially puzzled Red, Blue's description of its immense power reminded him of a journal entry he read at the Pokemon Mansion and helped him realize it was none other than the genetic Pokemon Mewtwo. Before Red left for the Cerulean Cave to challenge the legendary and avenge his fallen rival, he gave Charizard the Mega Stone as Oak believed the stone's emanating energy would bolster its power and give it a fighting chance against Mewtwo's might. As soon as Red arrived at the cave, Mewtwo proved itself the most powerful Pokemon he had ever battled. It mowed through his Gengar and Articuno, but found a worthy competitor in Charizard. Though Charizard started off strong with Fire Blast, Mewtwo deflected the assault, landed swift, and sent it plummeting to the surface. Red's backbreaking rescue saved Charizard from total annihilation, but Mewtwo repelled Slash anyway and sent the duo flying into the water. While on the verge of drowning, Charizard used Red's love to revitalize its energy reserves, rescued Red, and Mega Evolved into its X form. After shooting off Fire Blast and withstanding a vicious Swift, Mega Charizard retaliated with a Swift of its own. He then pummeled Mewtwo with Slash, reminded Red of how far they'd come, unleashed the world's most powerful Mega Punch, and weakened Mewtwo just enough for Red to catch it. Following Charizard and Red's joyous celebration at fulfilling Oak's dream, Red returned to Oak's lab, realized he still needed to catch Mew, and set out on a new adventure. And now for Charizard's battle record. Charizard won against a Nidoran, Brock's Onix, Erica's Vileplume, a Wigglytuff, a Voltorb, a Seadra, Giovanni's Rhydon, Gary's Blastoise, and a Wild Mewtwo. It lost to Gary's Squirtle and Giovanni's Nidoqueen. Over the course of the series, Charizard used Growl, Scratch, Ember, Flamethrower, Fire Spin, Fire Blast, Mega Punch, Mega Kick, Seismic Toss, Swift, and Slash. While I would have loved to see more of Charizard's growth and learned how it performed in Red's other battles, I'm still immensely satisfied with its fast-paced arc and rivalry with Blastoise. Seeing Charmander bond with Red and mature into a powerhouse in only 4 episodes was a welcome change of pace from the fun yet elongated fillers that define the main series. Words can't express how much I wish the anime was more like Pokemon Origins. The animation is beautiful, the pacing out of this world, and the characters incredibly compelling. With a little luck, we'll one day get a follow-up to Red's adventure and see how he and Charizard have grown over the years. Until then though, class is adjourned. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're never late, and for extra credit, like this video and let me know your thoughts on Red's Mega Charizard. Until next time, catch you later.